Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Patriot Nation TV. I'm your host, Tim Davis. Today is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. On today's episode of Patriot Nation TV, this episode I'm going to name Tyranny Tuesday. Yes, that's correct. Tyranny Tuesday. So let's get it on. Let's get it going. It's the election. Let's talk about the election that we had a couple weeks ago and the tyranny that's being perpetrated from it and what's coming out of it. Now, we all know, everybody actually watched it live that Tuesday night, November 3rd. We watched the fraud take place, 12:30 a.m., Wednesday morning, and from that point on, we're seeing mounts and mounts and mounts of evidence coming in, backing the claim of fraud, backing the claim of theft of an election, such as watermarks, sworn affidavit, videos, Dominion software, etc., etc., etc. But I'm not going to touch on those issues because right now that's just all speculation, and we'll just leave those topics to the legal minds and to the courts to take, to make it work. So now, with that being said, what I will discuss is my take. And my take on the election and what I think is going to happen from this election. And while I'm doing this, what I'm trying to do is take complex issues and simplifying them and put them into layman terms for the average person to understand. And they could do the research on it. What I got to say, they could do the research. So show my credibility that what I'm going to tell you is actually facts. It's not, I don't need to, check factors, checking anything. You just check for yourself. Okay, so let's move forward. Like I always say, and I always say, I'm just one man, one opinion, and I read a lot. I've read a lot for many years, and I have a big interest in history, U.S. politics, and government economics. So now, what I believe is Donald Trump will remain president of the United States. And the key to him remaining president is him not conceding the election. And that's the key word, he concede. As long as he does not concede the U.S. election, this fraud that was perpetrated on America, he will remain president. And Donald Trump has many avenues, which are all constitutional and legal, all illegal. As the weeks progress, you're going to hear all the legal minds coming out. I wrote little stuff down on my little Facebook page and a couple weeks ago and got laughed at, mocked, whatever. It's all good. It's all good and fun, but we'll see what happens. I believe this is what's going to happen. Like I said, he has a minimum of 5 avenues that are all constitutional that he can take. Now, two of the avenues is going to be in the hands of the Supreme Court. When it goes to the Supreme Court's going to be faced with 2 options. The first option is going to be they have to take the evidence in and determine if there was fraud taking place. And if they determine that there was fraud taking place and there was stealing and false ballots and fake votes, they're gonna have one option is they're gonna declare those states that are in question have to do a full recount, because they're not going to do a full election and all over again. That's not going to happen. And then if it goes to the full recount, I believe Donald Trump is going to win because all those illegal votes will be thrown out. Now, with the second option that the Supreme Court has for them to decide the election is they're going to take the evidence in, they're going to review everything, and at that point, they're going to have the choice of just saying the election's null and void because of fraud. And once they make that ruling that it's null and void, they're not going to suggest having a whole new election because that's just not possible. What they are going to do is they're going to use their constitutional jurisdiction and powers and pass it on to Congress, the full House. And when they pass it on to the full House is going to have to use Article 2, Section 5 of the Constitution and the 12th Amendment. The 12th Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution as their guide to determine who the President of the United States is. So that's how it's going to go down. And I know people say, oh, that's ridiculous. That's nonsense. It's, what's the relevance of the 12th Amendment? That's because a lot of people just don't understand how our government works. Unfortunately, our schools failed many people in that department. And it's a shame. It's a shame, actually. That's another compromise thing, is our academia. So, but not to worry. The reason I say not to worry is because we witnessed this before. We've gone down this path before, whether even though it was 200 years ago. It happened in the election of 1800, which involved John Adams versus Thomas Jefferson. And then the other one happened in 1824, where it involved John Quincy Adams versus Andrew Jackson. And the funny thing about that election was it's called the corrupt bargaining. And it's funny, right? The corrupt bargaining. That's when it went to the 12th Amendment and to the House of Representatives. And so it's nothing new. It's nothing new under the sun. It's happened. So when you hear your liberal friends saying, "Oh, it's not going to happen. It's impossible," or it's a conspiracy, or it's hogwash, whatever buffoonery they come up with to discredit this historical facts, it's here or there. Just let time play it out. And like I said, as long as Donald Trump doesn't concede the election, he's going to remain president. Now, also, Donald Trump has a few other options at his disposal. One of them has been used twice also, and it was in the 19th century. It was in the War of 1812 when John Adams used it in the War of 1812, and Abraham Lincoln used it during the Civil War. It's called the Insurrection Act, and it was challenged in the courts, and the courts ruled that those presidents had that power under the war powers. And so, moving forward, there's another two that are at his disposal. I'm really not a fan of them. I never was. I was complaining about them when George Bush did it, and I complained about it when Obama did it. Those two are George Bush's act. It's called the Patriot Act. He signed it right after 9/11 happened. And then the second one is Obama's NDAA Act. He signed that in 2012. And it was challenged in the courts, and the courts ruled in favor of the president under the war powers, where the president can actually suspend the elections due to fraud or rebellion and chaos. Because we know once Trump gets back into the White House, these liberal lunatics are just going to go haywire and just go berserk and start rioting and looting again. And which I'm not a fan of him using those, but he may have to use that alternative, because we all know that this election was fake and it was fraud, was taking place really bad. So the whole point is, it's all going to come down to, I always said, I believe everything in our government, from the highest to the lowest, is compromised and corrupt. They're not working for we the people anymore. They're working for the New World Order. They're working for the UN. It's just this globalist Marxist ideology, and America's the last beacon of hope, and they got to get America to perform their tyranny on a larger scale. So we just got to hope and pray that our Supreme Court is not compromised, and they'll have an alliance to the New World Order. Yes, I do call them the New World Order, and the UN. We just hope and pray that they're not compromised and they follow the Constitution, and justice will be done, and that's all we can really hope for. And so, in ending, I'd like to say that we will revisit this topic on an inauguration day or the day after. We're definitely going to touch on this topic, because it's going to be a heated topic and subject, and the world's going to go in chaos regardless of the outcome. But when we do revisit this topic, it's going to be with a live panel. I'm going to have live guests, so people can call in, people can leave comments, ask questions of me. They can ask questions of the guests that are going to appear on the show, and we'll try to answer the best we can. So I hope everybody's doing good tonight. And I got to ask, I'm like, hope you like the show. I hope you hit like. I hope you subscribe. I could really use it, to help build this, because we got to take this by storm. We got to save this nation. And so in ending, like I said, just got to hope and pray. And so for now, good night. God bless. God bless America. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.